Today's show is presented by Podgo. Podgo is the easiest way for you to monetize your podcast, providing podcasters with a flat rate for ad space so you always know how much you get when you include an ad from Podgo. Apply today to become a member and immediately be connected with the advertisers that fit your audience. That's Podgo at podgo.co. Podgo. That's where the pods go.
Hello and welcome to the Infectious Group Podcast, part of the Odd Pods Media Network. Recorded at the 33 1/3 Music Appreciation Center in Speakeasy, located just outside of Detroit, Michigan. The Infectious Group Podcast is your source for jammy jams, music news, and the best in-depth music discussion. Thanks for joining us. Now here are your hosts.
Well, hello. As we inch closer to the family growing, we have another episode for you. Michelle, any comments on that to share with everyone? No?
Babygate 2021.
Yeah.
No.
Is that what you're calling your... Never mind. We already had enough discussion about that area last week, which, as you might imagine, we have some feedback on.
My area?
That's a far more eloquent way than you put it last week. When I'm doing our editing, I rarely laugh at us again. Because I already know the joke's coming, and I had to pause that shit and laugh for like 5 minutes last week. And then every comment that came in about it, I was just like, as far as stuff going on with this show, we continue to keep our promise as far as YouTube videos go. We had 2 more videos come out this week, one of which was a product review from the folks at Vinyl Vac sent us some products to review. So that is up. And then the other one just came out on Saturday because we have new videos on Thursdays and Saturdays. And you know how on the show we always want to keep it positive, like instead of, being like, oh, here's 5 overrated albums, or
that's what you want to do.
That's what I'm desperately trying to do every week. Yes. So I did 5 great sophomore records because all you ever hear from people is like, oh man, their first album was great, and then they were awful after that, right? And that's just not the case, man. Like it.
I think it does happen a lot, though.
No, for sure. Yeah. And one of the albums that I included was 2 of the albums were from the '90s, right? And I could make 15 videos about '90s bands who had one good album and then were terrible. But I'd rather be like, oh, by the way, here's 5 great. And it's getting like a ton of comments already today. Like people being like, holy crap, I agree with those. Or like, oh, here's a bunch more. So it's been really cool. The interaction is
Some Nights on there?
As a second record? No, I didn't put it on there. But you know what you can do is have some input in the future in our...
Be on it.
Yeah. Or even show up. These are
oh my God.
crazy thoughts.
You're asking a lot from me, man.
I realize, yeah. Move about 15 feet to the right from where you're at right now, and then just talk. Whew. So much to ask.
How do you talk here, though?
And we know that you talk here, but you can't remember what you said or what anyone else said.
Or what we talked about.
Or even what we talked about. But eventually, one day, you're coming to the YouTube channel, and I'm pretty stoked about it. Yeah. As right now, I already have enough videos shot to where we can have 2 videos a week through the beginning of September. So,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we're good on content right now. But the cool thing is I can just plug in whenever you're ready. I can plug it in, and the people can see you do what you do. And the looks, I think, are going to be more important than anything. The looks shot across the room. So anyways, if you go on YouTube and you look for Infectious Groove Vinyl, you will find our YouTube channel. There's some old interviews on there and stuff too, but mostly the videos are all vinyl record related. And we have a new video every Thursday and Saturday. So as I said, last week's episode was really a much more serious topic for us than usual. And I was figuring we were going to get a lot of feedback, and we sure did. Now, some of it has to do with some folks' compartments, but... That's not the listeners.
Compartments.
That's not, well, it's still a better word than what you said. So this week's feedback is brought to you by Pew Pew Lasercraft, as opposed to Manscaped, who keeps breaking news in the middle of Michelle's Jammy Jams. But Pew Pew Lasercraft is a Etsy site that we have partnered with, and they have a whole bunch of different woodworking and laser etchings and really cool items, and they have partnered with us, so you can go to their Etsy store, Pew Pew Lasercraft, and type in the code GROOVE and get a discount on your entire order. And if you're listening to us, you're probably a music fan, and they make some really cool music-related items and everything else, too. But
they could just be a Michelle fan too.
Or yeah, if you're just a Michelle fan, you could go get Michelle's fan, or Michelle's #1 fan, or I guess Kyle, you could get a #1 fan of Michelle's bush. Again, back to sounds like a Christmas gift to me. So Pew Pew Lasercraft is bringing us our feedback, so let's get into it.
Feedback, Joe.
Don't worry about that. Right. There's rock and roll be without feedback.
So I know it's hard for you to remember what you said last week, but the very first piece of feedback we got yesterday, or last week rather, was right when the episode premiered, like literally like an hour after the episode was live. The first thing we got was, do you remember your comments when I said that the Violent Femmes were the best thing to come out of Wisconsin?
I said, what about cheese?
So the very first interaction we got was a tweet at us that said, quote, have you heard of cheese? Oh my God, that made me laugh. You were defensive about it too. The next piece of feedback came in was a gem of mine, a friend of ours that works in the music industry. Remember last week we had a lot of quotes that we were like, we don't want to say exactly who said this, but a person in the music industry, has told us this. They were listening to the episode early on Monday, and the first comment I got back on that was 4 laughing emojis and in quotes blowjob country. And I was like, that's what they call it. It's not my fault. We were
on fire last week.
We absolutely were. We had another friend in the music industry has a baby name suggestion for you. And at the end of the episode said, this was an excellent episode. Thank you so much for covering such an important topic. I have a name suggestion for the upcoming arrival, Nathan Cornelius.
I like Cornelius.
It's just a suggestion.
But you go by Corn for short?
Right. Yeah, obviously with a K. See if they can get him to put the see if you can get him
backwards K.
Yeah, I think the R is backwards.
Whatever.
Yeah, the R is backwards.
We would have to be different.
Right. So still more feedback coming in from the music industry. Now, one thing that we labored last week was about how these artists have to tour so much and put themselves through all this because the labels aren't paying any money, right? A person who works in the music industry wrote us this and said, labels can't pay artists because labels don't have the funds. Income from streaming, previously downloads, is a very small fraction of what it was in the days of physical sales. So labels are as screwed as the artists from streaming. In the old days, the label would fund things. And then this is in parentheses. This was merely a 900% loan, as in like the interest rate of 900%. And the artist would tour and sell merch to pay that off. In the new days, the band is on their own budget-wise and fronting expenses and tour and sell merch to pay all of it off. So the whole system is terrible.
Yeah.
I want to be clear. This is from Chicago Mike from Chicago. Okay. However you identify with Mike. He promoted our episode on his Facebook page, which we love, by the way. If anybody wants to share any of our stuff on your page, it helps us out a great deal. And he said that the return of live music is something all of us are looking forward to. But what about the artists? Take a listen to what Russ, Kyle, and Michelle had to say. It's a great episode and a great conversation about the side of it that many of us don't think about. As someone who's received professional help with when, quote, life gets crazy, this episode hit real close to home. Well done, IGP, which I thought was great. I really like that anybody felt comfortable to talk more about their own issues too, and say, oh wow, I didn't think about that.
Right.
Like we got a lot, as you'll hear through the feedback, we got a lot of like, oh, I didn't think about that, because we didn't either, we had a new listener who goes by the handle of KDiggs74 said, I just caught up to your show with the episode Road to Nowhere. I probably get this one a little bit more because I'm a music snob as well. I really enjoyed hearing you guys talk about everything that you've been listening to. Being able to support mental health is really positive. So that was cool from a new listener. And James Porter always has good feedback. He's got 2 pieces of feedback for us. One's less serious than the other. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the first one, the serious one, out of the way first.
Okay.
Great episode. Many of the fears discussed applied to everyone who's going back to work, but it's all amplified by their lifestyle, which I agree with. Like a lot of just people going back to the office are probably like, oh, how's this going to work? The difference is what James goes on to say about the lifestyle. I would assume most people that go to work don't have like to drink an entire fifth before they go into the office. Most people, not you, Michelle. not you, Michelle. But there again, though, I bet there are a lot of people that are going to pick up unhealthy habits that they had before, because of what they were dealing with.
I think a lot of people have been drinking and working from home, so having to go back to the office and maybe not drink while you're working at work. Right. Yeah. So it might be difficult.
I don't know anything about it. James goes on to say, these fears reminded me so much of the Stevie Ray Vaughan book, Texas Flood. He had fears that if he was sober, he would lose his abilities, and the opposite ended up being true. He was at his best after he sobered up. By all accounts, the last year of his life, he played better than ever. I hope that the artists that do what they do felt that they had to do it to get up for a show, come down after the show, read that book, especially the second half. The fact of the matter is that the tours are pretty much the only way to make money in the industry. But yeah, I totally forgot about that. Stevie Ray Vaughan, if you look at the last year of his life, any footage is just stunningly amazing. And the guy was stone cold cold sober for the first time ever. So that's a great call out from James for people to look and use somebody as an inspiration who was able to do that. And again, we talked about that during the episode too. We're not saying nobody can do it, but I would say it's rarer.
I think Eminem went through something similar.
Yeah,
absolutely. He didn't know that he would be able to do the same kind of stuff that he was doing.
Is it Berserk?
I don't know. I can't remember.
All those who look down at me, I'm tearing down your balcony. I can't remember that, but it was basically a song being like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this sober. Yeah, you know. But he also put out some terrible albums on the drugs.
Well, he found he put out some shit, but then he found his groove, and now he's back to where it's sober and doing the level of what he was doing.
We should make that movie, How Marshall Got His Groove Back. You know. So then that was a really good, poignant remark from James Porter, who then came back to leave the following. Also, I will be sending a cleaning bill to Michelle for my dashboard when I spit my beverage all over the inside of my car after her comments following the Manscaped ad. We've made several references to that comment in this episode already.
I'm just saying, when's my time, Lord?
When's your time for what?
For a clean downstairs,
for
Manscaped.
A clean basement. Nick Fowler, who always has good feedback to share as well from the Vinyl Den, said, great and unfortunately extremely important topic. Mental health is something that's still far overlooked in our society, especially when it comes to musicians. Labels have been getting rich off of personal issues of artists and bands since the beginning of the music industry, and they don't really care what happens to them as long as it doesn't affect the label. Couldn't be more true with that. The more tragic the life of the artist, the more publicity they get and the more money the labels rake in. I think going forward, we will see artists doing fewer shows in such a short period of time, at least at the beginning, and doing more of these live streams, shows as a way to supplement their income, which I think we kind of agreed with too. I think our overall thought by the end of the last episode was like, at the beginning at least, there's going to be a lot of talk of like, oh, let's take it easy, you know, and then we'll see what happens with it, you know.
The bills don't pay themselves.
Right, yeah, absolutely. Listener Smoke, who's not only a listener of our show, but he co-hosts the BTFYW show on the Odd Pods Media Network, and he's also a veteran. So we thank him for his service to the country, and especially on this Memorial Day weekend. But he said, I love the show, but I especially love this one because of the mental health talk. I am so thankful to have the VA counselors that I have, which I'm sure. Personally, I haven't served, and I can't even imagine some of the things they deal with. As a way to wrap up the written feedback, because, oh boy, do we have some voicemails to share. Holy cow. Excellent episode. Insightful, and I'd rather artists stay happy and healthy longer to create more for the planet, says Mike Barkell. Yeah. I just last night, I had a friend over who kept going on about artists who are retiring and might retire because of this. And it was like, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but it was such a selfish conversation. It was just like, well, yeah, but I need entertainment. It's like, or do you want 10 more albums and them to be happy, or do you just really want that tour right now?
I feel like they've been trained to give us a false sense of happiness, because as what's happening right now, everyone's like, we're so excited to get back out there and get on the road, and you know damn well that is not true.
Well, and I told you before, there's our friend that works in the music industry has said at least 3 times in the past 3 weeks has said to me, I don't know one person who's in the music industry who's excited to go back out. Yeah. No matter what they're posting on Facebook. Yeah. So we always have a voicemail line, and we always tell everybody we have we love that. I love all the written feedback, but it's cool if you use our voicemail line as well, which is 313-364-9899. Now, I do have to say that I believe now I can make a press statement about this, and we've officially developed our first beef, where you guys got us into it a little bit, and then some more.
You were right there.
Hold on, we have more voicemails from Seth.
Look, I'm just I'm gonna play this, and I'm gonna let you guys address it as it happens. Here we go.
Hello, this is Seth responding to Kyle's challenge from last week's episode. I heard what you said, and next time I'm in Detroit, we can settle this via spinoff in the basement of Russ's house. You know, back to back. I'll play Beyonce, and you can play whatever you want. And then we'll figure out, you know, if we get some, if you're actually a hater of Beyonce, or if maybe you just don't give her enough of a chance. Also, Beyonce's from Texas, so Russ, you are safe, and Michelle, you are right. I just respect Russ and more than the rest of you.
Well, at least I'm right.
Yeah.
That's the part I'm hanging on to.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna pause it here. Kyle, would you like to address? Are you interested in a duel?
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. Oh man.
Is this like a white glove slap?
This sounds like a pay-per-view event, if you ask me. And then I never in my life have I been more excited by the words "Michelle is right," followed up by "because I do respect Russ more." It's my favorite. I'm going to frame that voicemail. I'm going to print
I
out
only hear the first half. It gets real muffled after that.
It's very strange, isn't it? I'm going to print that WAV file out and frame it and give it to you for your birthday. Let's hear the rest of it.
You're going to get it tattooed on you.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And the rest of you. But in all honesty, beyond say that, I really wanted to say that I appreciated the topic that you covered last week about mental health, because I think that's very important. And I think it's, like you said, not talked about. And I think it's, you said a lot of valid things that I wish a lot of more people got to heard. So definitely appreciate that. And I look forward to Michelle popping out her baby so I can finally overthrow her on the podcast and take over her position. So, yeah, have fun with that baby, Michelle. Bye.
Well, wait till the baby gets here. You're going to find yourself out of a job.
Oh, God.
So,
wait, y'all getting paid for this?
Right, yeah. Yeah. Isn't the show paying for everything? So, yeah, and again, the second half of that voicemail, obviously far more serious about the mental health, and we were happy to talk about that subject, even though it's unfortunate that we should have to.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to be talking about it. So my takeaways from that voicemail are: challenge issued by Seth, accepted by Kyle.
100%.
Michelle is right, but only about me being more respectful. That's my take. Okay, I have that correct. Okay. And then we have one more voicemail to share, and this one made me laugh as well.
Hey, Infectious Groove, this is Josh. I really enjoyed your episode this week. Very eye-opening topic. Really kind of makes you think about everything from when you started listening to music, your last favorite band that you've seen, and how much shit they truly go through. So great for you guys to bring it to light. On another note, I think the highlight for me of the show was Russ stating that Mike Love is a piece of shit. I couldn't agree more. And Love and Mercy is a fantastic movie. Keep doing what you're doing, guys. Thank you very much. Bye.
All right, so I want to address this point head on real quick. Okay, because I try and keep the show positive. Here's why I said Mike Love is a piece of shit. Because Mike Love is a piece of shit. Yeah. So before you even worry about like how awful he wanted to like redo the same Beach Boys music over and over and like pushed very famously against like Pet Sounds and being creative and whatnot, before you even worry about how terrible he treated. Okay, so a lot of people think of Mike Love and Brian Wilson as Mike Love and Brian Wilson. They're cousins, man. They're family. You know what I mean? So like not just a bandmate, but like a family member. How awfully he treated Brian Wilson like through his whole mental illness and to this day. Before you worry all about that, here's an accurate picture of what a piece of shit Mike Love is. He funded the PMRC. Okay, so if you're sitting on the other side of the table from John Denver, who is speaking up for free speech and artistic ability, you're wrong. So if you lump that all together, what you get is a Mike Love sandwich. We greatly appreciate all that. I just wanted to clarify my comments on Mike Love. I didn't want anybody thinking that I wasn't justified.
I think a Mike Love sandwich equates to a shit sandwich.
Yeah, which is Rolling Stone's review of Spinal Tap's third album. Simply a 2-word review of shit sandwich.
That movie's not even funny,
that
man.
Movie is hilarious. The best review from that movie is Rolling Stone said of your next album, Rock and Roll Creation, this pompous set of religious rock songs makes one wonder, on what day did God create Spinal Tap, and could he have not rested on that day as well? But when they do the shit sandwich thing, it's great.
God,
really a 2-word review. All right, we are moving right along. Our jammies. So for me, my Jammy Jams consists of exactly one artist this week, and it has been, both of you are going to love this if you haven't heard it already. The new album from Royal Blood.
I have not listened to it.
Oh my Lord Almighty, please listen to it when you get in the car. I haven't been this excited about a new artist from a band I like in like years.
Wait.
So
you said a new artist from a band you like.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, a new album from a band that I
was like, wait, what?
Whatever. People still respect me more. So
I'm still right.
Damn it. So Royal Blood, they're from the UK, and if they're one of those bands that if I played any song of theirs off their first 2 albums for you right now, you go, oh, I know that song. You know how people do that with Kaleo?
Sing it.
No. You know how people do that with Kaleo though, where you're like Kaleo and they're like no, and you play
and then you're like Kaleo and they're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, of course I know Kaleo. But if I played any song off of their first 2 records, you'd be like, oh, I totally know that song. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's just a bass player and a drummer. That's all the band is. Just a 2-piece, and they don't have a guitar player or anything, but the bass player distorts his bass enough to where he plays like the lead solos on the high notes of the bass. It's just killer. But their first 2 records are like rock songs. They're albums where within the past 5 years, if anybody said to me like, oh, there's no rock music anymore, I would be like, have you heard Royal Blood? Like it's just straight rock. This new record I bought sight unseen. Like you guys know, I try not to listen to stuff when it's on streaming until I can listen to it straight through. Threw the needle on it last night, and like this is like a dance rock record. It's 100% different than the first 2 albums.
I'm listening.
And it is killer. You got the energy alone on this record, you guys will love. There's like songs that are almost disco on it. I mean, it is, let me put it this way. I would imagine everyone but me, because I love when artists evolve, like we've labored that point on the show. Okay. I would imagine everyone but me who loves Royal Blood heard this and was like, what is this shit? And where me, I was like, hell yes, like, let me have more of that. Yeah. So, but I would imagine everyone who gets into them on this record will listen to their old stuff and be like, that's not as poppy and fun. You know what I mean? So it's just a gargantuan album, man. It is just, yeah, I mean, we played it straight through twice last night at different points in the night because it was so good. We just listened to the whole thing front to back. Killer album. And for real, like when you guys leave here, put it on streaming. The new album's called Typhoons. From the word go, you both will be like, I'm in a good mood now because the song is playing. Like, it's just crazy. Because I know when you leave here, typically you're in an awful mood from having had to think. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yep. I had to put pants on.
Oh, my Lord. I keep telling you, until we go live on YouTube with these episodes, that's totally optional. Jammy pants, whatever you want to wear. It's fine with us. So going over to you, Kyle, what are your jammy jams?
Oh, man, there's a lot this week. There's a lot.
All right. I don't think I got it. We're running a little long.
I'll keep it short and sweet, but there's a lot.
Oh, boy.
I don't know if I have heightened awareness to the mental health thing now because we just talked about it. But I just happened upon an interview that City and Color was doing of like a deep dive into their record sometimes, and he just kind of explains like where the album came from and what it means and yada yada yada. There's a song called "Hello, I'm in Delaware" on the album, which is a Wayne's World reference.
Oh yeah,
but it's also all about how being on the road sucks.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, God damn, like it's starting to pop up everywhere. Like that's obviously came out a long time ago, but like now that I'm like thinking about it, it's just everywhere.
It's like when you buy a new car and you see everybody else
the same cars everywhere.
Everyone else owns this car. Yeah,
but everyone does on my car.
No, but yeah, and I just said we're running long, but I'm still going to reference it that you could go to London, you could go to LA, you could go to Delaware. Hi. I'm in Delaware. Great Wayne's World part.
And Michelle wouldn't know anything about that because she's never seen the movie.
Holy cow. The second one's better than the first one, so if you're going to do one, start there. Wayne recaps the whole first movie in the first 5 minutes of the second one, so just start there.
Here's what I'm going to do. Not watch it.
Sweet.
Okay.
Sweet. You know what? Next season, I'm going to make that one of the movies we have to talk about.
Watching that YouTube video led me to listen to Sometimes, which is one of my favorite records by City and Color anyways.
Right.
But beyond that, J. Cole released a new album called The Off Season,
which we know Michelle won't like because she shit all over him when we did our Miguel review.
So I saw that he had a new album come out, and I was like, well, let me listen to this and see. And then
not so much.
Did you listen to it?
Yeah, not the whole thing.
Yeah, okay. This isn't shit on Kyle's Jammy Jams hour. So
you're the one who brought up that I didn't like J. Cole. I wasn't even going to say anything.
You were already mid sentence before I started talking.
J. Cole released The Off Season in 5 fire emojis. It's fantastic.
Whoa.
5 fire emojis for you, 1 from Michelle equals a 3 from the show.
Yes, despite what Michelle says.
There's our future review of it.
Kasky, who I spoke about before, who recently did a record with Yellow Wolf, also released his own new project called Fine Art, also good.
Right on.
And then what I focused on most, because I did not like it the first time I listened to it, was DMX's new record.
Yeah, now I've heard as it goes on, it gets better though.
So it was because I was being a fucking music snob is what the problem was.
Oh boy.
So
we just talked about this.
I listened to it all the way through and I was like, this doesn't sound like how he used to sound. I don't like this. He's fucking 50 years old. For one, he's not going to sound like he did when he was 20.
Yeah.
So I re-listened to it. I watched an interview with Swiss Beats talking about what went into making it and how they went about everything and yada yada yada. And I re-listened to it again, and I was like, okay, this is better than what I thought it was.
Yeah.
And then I re-listened to it a third time and was like, okay, I like this.
What I keep hearing is people say the album gets better as it goes on, which means they might be coming to the same realization you did. Like, I've heard the last 2 tracks are like super deep.
And yes, they are.
Okay.
And also, it's different than other DMX records because there's a ton of features on it, and there usually isn't on DMX records.
Right.
It's very, very feature heavy. And I thought that was the same thing that they did with Pop Smoke's record.
Posthumous thing.
Yeah, but it wasn't. This record was completely finished before DMX passed away.
Which is rad.
Yeah. So it's just he decided. I guess he was trying to get everybody and their mom on this record. Like Swiss Beats had to be like, no, we're not doing all this.
Yeah.
All these features.
Sure.
So it's different than what you would normally be expecting from DMX.
But that's good.
But it's good, and yeah.
Damn it! Now I'm going to sit around and wonder about like what could have been.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
But that's where my mind goes.
he did say over and over again to Swiss Beats that this was his planned last record, no matter what happened. He was on the build up. He really, really wanted to come back with like a huge punch and be DMX again.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes listening to it sad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think overall, though, like the evolution of the artist is good to hear.
Yes.
And like I said, and I haven't listened to it myself yet, but I've heard people are being like, damn, like there's some deep stuff on here. So.
There is, and the album's called Exodus, and if you go and listen to it, don't just judge it on the first time that you listen to it all the way through.
Well, put some choice tracks on our Spotify
Yes,
playlist.
I will. Yeah.
And that Michelle goes through the trouble of making every Sunday for us.
It is trouble. I just want you to know.
I'm certain it
You're
is.
not trouble.
Hey, speaking of trouble, we don't have any Manscaped news to run during your Jamie Jams, so hopefully you won't find a reason to talk about your grooming. But can you do that? Can you share your Jamie Jams without talking about your grooming?
How do I work this out?
Yeah, how do I work this out in my head?
I only have like 1.5 Jammy Jams this week, and they're also throwbacks like they were last week.
Can you start with
I
a half?
fell for this before. No, damn it. The last time she had a half, I had her start with a half, and I can't remember now, but there were shenanigans because of the half. So
The half is Blue by the Jayhawks.
why is it half?
Because, so it's one of those songs that I will forget exists until I die, until I hear it again, and I'm always like, oh, I like that song. And then I will never request it. I will never remember who does that song. And then
Okay, so that's why it's a half?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's 50% of recorded music for you.
Accurate.
Like, I'm pretty sure if you put that song on right now, even though it's my Jammy Jam, I'd be like, I don't know who sings this.
Sweet. Well, by all means, tell us about your full Jammy Jam.
My full Jammy Jam is just one song that I can't get out of my head this week.
Sure.
It just following me around is Still the One by Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
It came up, I was in either a commercial or I heard it on a TV show, and then now I've been purposely being like,
yeah. When I was a kid, that was in a fast food commercial or something. And
it ruined it?
Well, it's I've told the story on the show before where when I heard Seven Wonders by Fleetwood Mac, that was the first thing I ever heard by them. And I was like, oh, this is a new band, Fleetwood Mac. And so when I heard that, and then years later when I heard the Orleans song, I was like, that's that song from that fast food commercial. No. It's that song that ended up being in the fast food commercial.
So the band's Orleans. So would you say it's by the Orleans, or is it just by Orleans? I'm actually curious.
We should contact them and see what their preferred.
Does it say the Orleans?
No, but I feel like if we say Still the One by Orleans, it sounds, because you want to put the there.
No, there's
you got to drop the right?
It depends on how it.
Sounds like somebody's brewing up next week's topic. God, sit here and talk for a half hour about whether you should say the before bands or not. Holy cow.
Okay,
so that was all 1.5 Jammy Jams?
That was all 1.5 Jammy Jams.
Fantastic. And I didn't mean to cut you off, Kyle. Was that the basis overall? What you had?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was very, very rap heavy, but
well, that's different for you. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, the second half of the show is devoted to a album review. This time, we're going to do Michael Jackson's 2001 album, Invincible. You're listening to the Infectious Group podcast on the Odd Pods Media Network. We will be right back.
I'm I'm Midnight Agent Raw. And I'm Okami. We are the Super Media Bros Podcast. And each week, we give a comedic take on all forms of entertainment, such as movies, music, video games, television, and much more. So put your shades on and listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Shades on. We're on.
Welcome to Geek Exploration, the podcast. I'm John Williams.
And I'm Ben Robinson. Do you like time travel?
Movies.
Video games?
Comics.
Sci-fi?
Cartoons.
Or how about action figures?
Well, so do we. Every episode, we pick a topic from the geekosphere and have a little chat about it.
So if you've been waiting for a groundbreaking podcast that does all of this and more, you might have what it takes to be a Geek Explorer.
Come join us every other Tuesday for a fresh installment of Geek Exploration, the podcast.
You can find us at geeksplorationpodcast.com or any reputable podcatcher. And likely a few unreputable ones.
We are back, and it's Russ, Kyle, and Michelle on the Infectious Groove Podcast. If you're new to the show, by the way, you can go to infectiousgroovepodcast.com and find out pretty much everything you need to know about the show there. Our socials, Instagram and Facebook are pretty active, and then we're extremely active on Twitter. Michelle tweets, 10, 15 times a day.
You know, I don't know that I actually logged into Twitter on my new phone.
Oh, that's a giant surprise. So if you go to infectiousgroovepodcast.com, you can follow us on all the socials and so on and so forth. For Twitter followers, we do retweet a ton of other podcasts. We're just trying to do our part to help out in the podcast community and promote other shows because they help us out so much. But if you just turn off retweets, like you'll see the actual tweets that we make, you know?
That's a thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. So one note I want to make about this particular record that we're going to do, because I'm certain there are some folks that might wonder why we would either promote or perpetuate Michael Jackson's music based on his public issues in the past.
Besides the fact that this is a music podcast?
Well, no, but then if it was a comedy podcast, I wouldn't be reviewing Bill Cosby stuff.
That's true.
Convicted
That's true.
and all.
That's true. Yeah.
So we just want to say a couple of things ahead of time, and I am going to try and make this brief. The three of us, and I checked ahead of time to make sure we're all on the same page about this. I am speaking for the three of us. The three of us firmly believe that Michael Jackson is an innocent person, and that the extortion that happened to him in 1993 and the accounts that were brought against him in 2003, which he was found innocent on all charges, are false. So we don't have any issue promoting, perpetuating, and talking about his music. If you are interested in finding out more, me personally, I find that the more research you do on Michael Jackson, the more innocent he gets. And by research, I mean actual research, not like reading half an article or someone's opinion or the work of fiction that HBO produced a couple of years ago. If you want to do some research, there's some great documentaries out there like Square One. There's one called Loving Neverland, not the one titled like HBO's work of fiction, but Loving Neverland. So there's plenty of areas out there for you to do your own research and find out why we feel the way that we do. Having said that, I just wanted to get all that out of the way. There are parts of it that play into the album, but not a lot. So I wanted to get that out of the way instead of continually discussing it through the album review. So having said that, let's get right into it.
The Infectious Groove Podcast.
Album review.
Oh, I'm sure I'll say something dumb.
It's my favorite drop. Released in October of 2001, Michael Jackson's Invincible was set to be, I don't know if you'd call it a comeback album. Some people say comeback album, but I strongly disagree with the success of History and the massive overseas tours that he was still going.
Don't call
What
it
did he
comeback.
ever?
Yeah.
What did he ever have to come back from?
Well, the aforementioned issues.
But I mean, he was always
I can see
fucking Michael Jackson, man.
Well, I can see that misconception in the U.S. because he wasn't touring here after 93, right? But like, you go on YouTube and you can just see that he was still playing to hundreds of thousands of people everywhere else except for his own country where they disowned him for no reason whatsoever. So this was supposed to be seen as a comeback record, and this record, it was so under-promoted by Sony, it's not even funny. Like if you talk to most people don't even know that this album exists. And then if they do, they go, oh yeah, You Rock My World, I remember that. And they barely remember You Rock My World. Mm-hmm. So I do have issues with this record. I don't think everything Michael Jackson did was perfect all the time. That's probably breaking news to you too, actually. I do have issues with this record. I think there's a lot of ways it could have been improved and so on. But the reason I wanted to bring this up as a review is because what are we going to do? Review Thriller or Bad or stuff that people have heard a billion times. You know what I mean?
We
Like,
already did that.
well, I mean, Thriller was in the tournament,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean? Like, we're not just going to sit here and be like, have you heard Billie Jean? What a jam. Like, I'd rather bring attention to an album that's
it's 100% an album that everyone should listen to.
Yeah, crazy underrated. So what is overall, now we're going to get into our format of our favorite tracks, our stinkers, and some general discussion. But coming into this, I want to say, Michelle, you probably had heard more than the average tracks off of this because of me. I would have probably played more than You Rock My World for you. Or do you know? Did you not have, was this all fresh to you?
No, there was probably like 4 or 5 that I had heard before.
Probably because I played them, like not out in general public or anything, I would assume.
I can't say for certain. Is this legally binding?
Do you not want to admit that you heard it because of me?
No, it probably was.
What about you, Kyle? Like, were you pretty much had heard You Rock My World, or did you know more of it? Now, I know before you told us your mom listened to a lot of Michael Jackson, but I don't know if it was the same.
I for sure had heard Butterflies, You Rock My World, and Speechless before diving deeper into this.
Like going headlong into the record.
Yeah.
Butterflies is such a jam.
Yeah, it sure fucking is.
We'll get into it, but God damn it.
Yes,
what a
it
jam.
is.
So I guess we might as well go right there and say, what are some of your favorites off of the record? And I have to assume Butterflies, Speechless.
Unbreakable.
Oh, what a way to start the record.
I didn't even realize that he had done more than one song with Biggie until I heard that. And I was like, holy shit, this is awesome.
When I was driving along listening to it the other day and Biggie came in, I was like, oh man, Kyle's going to dig that.
Yeah.
I totally forgot.
Immediately when it came on, I was like, oh my God, there's more than one song that he had.
Yeah. And that one was done posthumously because Biggie had passed away by the time that came out. So that's like a rap that was there that was put into the song.
So I read on the internet that it was in a Shaquille O'Neal song.
The same rap?
Yeah.
That's very possible.
That's what Wikipedia said, and I was like, Shaquille O'Neal raps?
Yeah.
Or does he sing?
Shaq
He sing?
Shaq Fu, man.
Yeah, do we have to review a Shaq album? I mean,
I'm going to pick that for the next review.
I want to strongly vote against that. So, anyways, Unbreakable, we mentioned Butterflies. What other favorites?
You Rock My World, obviously.
Jam.
The Chris Tucker thing in that is hilarious.
Yeah, it's very yeah.
I also dig Threatened as well.
Oh, yeah.
It just,
what a banger to close the record
yes,
with, by the way.
I actually wrote that in my notes. This is a great way, both with Unbreakable, a great way to open the record, and then Threatened, a great way to close the record.
Right on.
But I find myself liking Angry MJ. Like,
for sure.
My God.
That's why I love History so much. History, that dude is mad.
Yes.
Yeah. And so Unbreakable is in my favorites as well. And to me, one thing I love about Unbreakable, now I have major issues with the sequencing of this album as a whole.
Yes,
but
me too.
I love Unbreakable as an opener, and the reason why is because Unbreakable comes off as a exclamation point to the History album. Like, literally, if you just listen to the lyrics on the surface, it's him being like, "Nice try,
yeah,
I'm still here, and go fuck yourself."
But also, I find along that same line, I feel that if you are expecting the rest of the record to sound like that, then you're going to be severely disappointed.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's great because and we'll get into it later, but there are tracks like it, but it's sequenced so badly.
It's sequenced so badly that
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Huh?
That is.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Sequenced so badly that I had to color code my notes for what songs went along with other ones.
Yeah. and you know, I have a fix for this that I wish had happened.
Yeah.
So, and we'll get into that. Real quick, as far as my favorites, my absolute favorite song on this record is Speechless.
Oh, yeah, so
his vocal performance on Speechless is the shit dreams are made of.
Yep.
I think I've talked to you guys about this before. I think it's crazy that Michael Jackson isn't revered as a vocalist. People talk about him as an entertainer and as a dancer, of course, but nobody sits around. Like, if you listen to the vocal performance on Human Nature, that's an amazing vocal performance. And I think Speechless is as good or better. And people don't ever talk about that.
In my notes, it says Jamalama Ding Dong. For Speechless, and I said the way that this song, the vocals on this song almost leave me speechless.
Yeah, there you go. I have a friend of mine who says that Michael Jackson owns the patent on key changes. And Speechless sets the record.
Yeah.
Like, when you think the song's gonna be over, they're like, and here we go, up another half step. So Speechless, Butterflies. Again, the vocal on Butterflies is sick. Heartbreaker, I think, is awesome. Heaven Can Wait is another great ballad. Cry is a ballad that I always forget about unless I'm listening to this album. Like, when it plays through, as soon as Cry starts, I'm like, oh my God, what a great ballad. But I never think of it ahead of time. And then the title cut, Invincible. Fantastic song. So those are all my favorites, which is, half-ish of the album.
Are the other half stinkers?
No, I only have one stinker on this record because the rest of the record is excellent songs. Just the sequencing kills it.
So bad.
But what are your favorites?
You Rock My World, Speechless, Butterflies, Unbreakable. I like 200 Watts, actually.
It's 2000,
Oh,
and that's my stinker.
Is it?
Yeah.
I missed a zero on my notes, okay?
I actually, when I was doing my notes, I typed 200 too.
Yeah.
And then I was listening to it and I was like, wait, you're saying 2000.
Yeah.
Why does it say 200 right
200
here?
watts is so good. Some people even say it's 10 times as powerful. And it's 2000 watts.
That's so weird.
Here's my entire notes.
That's your stinker?
For my stinkers on this album, here's my entire notes. 2000 watts. What the fuck? I never want to hear the song in my life again.
It
That's what I
feels
have
like it was left
written
off of
right
an
here.
NSYNC album.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. It makes me angry that it exists.
Your arms
And-
are crossed very aggressively right now.
I'm okay. You guys know I'm a big champion of we really have to listen to these records. We really have to make, and even this, I've heard this album a million times, We went on a drive the other night and I had a chance to listen to this album front to back twice. And the second time I had to physically restrain myself from skipping 2000 watts, because I was like, I gotta be fair and listen to this song. And it was the worst 4.5 minutes of my
There are
music
also,
life.
for some reason, multiple songs on this album that go way longer for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
It just repeats the chorus over and over and over and
Yeah.
over again.
Well, that's
2000 watts is one of them.
2000 watts is 4.5 minutes of stop it. That's a critique I do have of the record
Yeah,
as well.
I was just like, why?
But for songs like Speechless and Butterflies, it works, right?
Yeah.
And then there's other songs where you're like, and it's hard to describe. I don't get sick of it. Like when I'm listening to it, I'm not like, oh, this should be over. But I have more than a few times I've been like, that song's a little long.
Yeah,
like
Unbreakable is the one that does
Yeah.
it too. At the end, he just keeps saying the same thing, and I'm like, okay,
but man, when I
It's a fucking
crank
jam.
that on
Yeah.
vinyl though,
Yeah.
when it ends, I'm like, oh damn it, Unbreakable's over. So if it were me, this would have been a 74-minute version of Unbreakable. Okay, so let's get into. Oh, I'm sorry, stinkers, because I kicked it off. I'm sorry, I almost skipped over everybody's stinkers. Michelle, I can't believe 2,000 watts isn't a stinker for you. Or excuse me, 200 watts.
200 watts is not a stinker. 2,000 watts might be. I have You Are My Life and Don't Walk Away.
Oh, that hurts. Those are great ballads.
I'm not. They don't fit on the record for me.
Okay, so do you think that they're?
Yeah, I think that if I heard them maybe on their own, like in a separate situation, but when they're playing in the record, I don't love it.
Man, I can't wait to get into the general discussion because I've got a fix for this whole thing. But
it doesn't vibe. I don't like the rest of the record with all the other jams and even the raps and whatever like that.
the raps,
and the songs,
the raps.
No, it's not just Biggie. There's other people that rap in there. It's not what I meant. It's like the raps, like an old person, like an old.
The genre of the raps. It came out after the Orleans.
You sound like an old.
I am an old, but those just don't fit on the record for me, and I don't like. I want to say that I would like them independently, but I don't know that I would.
I had a hard time writing my notes for this record because I love so many, except for 2,000 watts. I love so many of the songs individually, but we're reviewing this album.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so I was like driving along listening to Don't Walk Away, and I was like, God, what a jam. And then I was like, but this seems like 100 hours since Unbreakable.
Yeah.
And it's because of Pearl Jam has a record like that too. Their fourth album, No Code, 10 excellent songs. And the sequencing works so bad that if you play any two songs from No Code back to back for me, I will be like, please stop playing this.
Yeah, God,
you know what I mean?
so annoying.
So, but I love every song on this record except for that, but they don't work together as a record, and it upsets me to a great deal. What do you got for stinkers, Kyle? 200 watts again?
Everyone knows that by now that my stinker bar is set at like Pharrell Happy. So I usually don't have a lot of stinkers on most records because I can listen to all of it without getting irritated. But on this record in particular, if I had to choose stinkers, there's two of them. One is not a full stinker, but it's Heartbreaker.
Oh, that's
I like the song, but it
I gotta
sounds like it was written for a goddamn boy band.
Well,
and I cannot.
As evidenced by a year later, Justin Timberlake completely ripped off this whole album.
Yeah, so then that and then 2000 Watts, which also sounds like it's written for a boy band. And I just,
that's so bad.
It's just, I can't get.
I don't know. It just makes me happy when I hear it.
2000 watts does? 200 or 2000? Which one?
You just like the guy
200. I don't know what this 2000.
Like
Maybe I was listening to a different album.
Man, I'll tell you what. If you love 200 watts, you're gonna love 2000 watts.
You just like the repetition of the guy going 2000 watts.
Yes,
Good God.
that's the part I like.
I don't know what they're doing with MJ's voice on it. To reference what I talked about earlier, you have arguably one of the greatest male singers in the history of the game, and you're gonna heavily manipulate his vocal.
Yes.
What? But Heartbreaker hurts me to my soul.
I like that song, but it's too close to being a Backstreet Boys song.
I think this is where I quit the show. No, and I'm not going to die on that hill. I get what, but you see that, but I love me some Backstreet Boys and Instinct. So, I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll take Michael singing
It sounds exactly for when it came out 2001.
Yeah, it sounds like a track from 2001.
Yes, that's exactly what I didn't expect it from Michael, but when you compare it to what was happening in the pop music at that time, it fits perfectly.
So as far as general discussion of the record goes, like I say, I can't think of a better way to kick it off with Unbreakable because that song I think is specifically an exclamation point on purpose to the history era. Okay.
Yeah.
And then what I do love is, regardless of all of my problems with sequencing, after Unbreakable, he gets back to the business of being Michael Jackson, right? If he was still going to publicly address and take head on the extortion that occurred with the 1993 deal, you wouldn't have songs on here like Butterflies and Speechless and whatnot. You'd have more Stranger in Moscow and Money, and this time around, like more songs being flat out mad, which Privacy is as well, obviously. Yes. But Privacy, I think, is just I don't think it's I'm addressing what occurred with the extortion. I think it's more just in general, holy shit.
Being a celebrity in general.
Yeah. Like back off, know? And I think Privacy reminds me to some extent to Dirty Diana. Yeah. It's got that like low rock groove to it. Or Give In To Me, maybe off of Dangerous. And also, and I didn't put this in my notes, I think Privacy is the one where has one of the most unique solo slashes ever laid down.
I was going to ask you what songs he was on.
He's on 2 before this. But on this album, he's on that. And then Carlos Santana is on this record as well.
Did you know that R. Kelly and Babyface produced it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you knew that. Did you know that?
So that, for me, is my overall first thought on the record. Now, like I have this in my notes here. I told you guys I tried to chop my notes down some, so I'm not talking for 3 hours about this. But this is so hard to judge for me as a record, because now with 2020 vision, I can look back and go, oh, well, here's what they should have done.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. In 2001, if you're Michael Jackson fans, you're just like, okay, give me all of it. Whatever you recorded, give me all of it. Right? And which is how this record sounds to me.
That's exactly what I was thinking. They just threw everything that was available at the time onto one record and was like, here you guys go.
Right. Now I can look back in 2020 and go, okay, well, this is the last studio record he ended up releasing. We wouldn't get anything else ever again. Okay. But if I were sitting next to him at the console in 2001 and going, okay, what's going to go on this record? What I would have done is, first things first, split the ballads up into 2 records so that you don't have this roller coaster ride.
Yes, there is 2 records on this record.
For sure.
Yes, it is 2 separate records that got smushed together for some reason.
Yeah, so you take... first thing I would have done, if you're looking at a dry erase board, I would have listed all the ballads and then just cut them in half and been like, okay, these are record A and these are record B.
I did that with my notes.
Okay. This is awesome. I'm so excited about this. Okay, I would have done that. Then you take your bangers, Heartbreaker, Invincible.
200 watts.
200 watts. No, you take 2,000 watts, you take that and you put it in the nearest trash can. And then release that on a box set in 20 years from now and have a huge hype sticker that's like, features the unreleased track 2,000 watts. So everyone buys it and then is wildly disappointed by that one song. So then you fold around the bangers, right? Privacy and Unbreakable and so on and so forth. And then you write the lead single for each one. Put You Rock My World on one, and because you're Michael Jackson and you're wildly creative, come up with the banger single that's going to anchor the other record. Put the one out in 2001, run that son of a bitch for 3 or 4 years, including the videos and the tours and everything. Put the other one out in 2005, 6, 7. And then now you've got 2 back-to-back crushingly killer, great creative artistic statements from a great creative artist, instead of what we got, which is a pile of here's some songs.
I'm going to sound like an old now, but I I would 100%.
You gonna talk to us about the rap?
I would 100% accept that this was a double disc album, and one featured all of the ballads, and then one featured all of his angry music, and you could just listen to one after the other and be like, oh, these are two separate great entities.
Almost, concept record. Even. Yeah.
But that didn't happen. So
the sequencing on this record is just. Okay, so this, I know I'm the vinyl guy and everything. When I listen to Invincible on vinyl, because it's over 2 LPs, I almost always listen to one LP or the other. Like, I don't ever put it on and listen. Whereas, like, if I listen to History Continues, which is over 1.5 LPs, because it's a three LP set, I will listen to Scream straight through to Smile, like, every time. Right? If, like, people in my house have been like, I'm going to go pull History. I want to hear Scream. And I'm like, okay, but you're going to hear the other 14 tracks. You know what I mean? With Invincible, if people are like, oh, I really want to hear Speechless, I'm like, okay, well, we're going to listen to that LP of it. You know what I mean? Like, I can't, or I can put on the second LP, which has 2,000 stupid watts. And listen to and enjoy.
Wait, now is it 2,000 stupid watts?
Yes, it's it's
2,000 watts.
In my world, the song is titled legally 2,000 parentheses stupid and parentheses watts.
Okay,
but I can put on that second LP and enjoy the hell out of that. Right, which speaks to your point.
Yeah,
like I even sequenced the way it is, I can deal with it broken up. But all together, if you were to be like, let's listen to Invincible straight through, I would be like, or let's listen to half of it.
Yes.
What else do you got for your general notes, Kyle?
I haven't noticed previously that he often shouts out producers that produce his songs. Does he do that?
Yeah,
frequently?
Not on History and before.
Okay, because like Darkchild produced "You Rock My World," and he says, Darkchild or whatever, and I was like, that's weird. Like I don't find that he normally does that kind of thing.
What I'm about to say is not based in fact at all. So no one take it that way. I assume that's a contract thing. Yeah,
that's
what I mean. Like,
I figured that Darkchild was probably like, well, you can have this song, but you're going to have to let people know that I produced it.
Now, I do think that all 3 times that Slash has appeared on songs and Michael goes, Slash! I think that's natural. I think that's natural. And I've always,
anybody would do that?
Yeah. And I've always told people that if I could have 2 of Michael Jackson's abilities of everything, the amazing singing voice, the incredible stage presence, all that, Michael Jackson's 2 powers that I wish I possessed. Number 1 is the ability to point at anything and have it blow up. And by the way, I want to be able to, like, if I'm in a room, just like spin and then stop and point at something and it blows up. I want that ability.
Do you have to spin?
Yeah. I mean, well,
so that charges your finger?
It lets people know it's coming.
Oh, okay.
Like if we're in a bar, right, and the bartender's being a jerk, like if I start spinning, the bartender better duck. You know what I mean? Like, because when I stop, And then the other ability I want is I want the ability to be like Slash and just have him show up.
I want the sidewalk to light up when I walk.
Yeah. Well, you can make that happen though. You can just go to Home Depot and get some shit and make that happen. She's giving Kyle the side eye. But to my knowledge, I don't think you can go to Home Depot and make the ability to just yell Slash and have him show up. I would love that. But like all 3 times, I think it's 3, that Slash is on Michael Jackson songs right before he plays, Michael goes Slash, and then that happens. It's awesome. And I still think, and this isn't Invincible, but Given to Me on Dangerous, I think is the single best guitar solo Slash has ever played.
I love that song.
Like, too. I think it destroys everything he ever did in Guns N' Roses on that one MJ song. His solo on that is killer. But his solo on this record is completely different from what Slash, like when Santana comes in, you're like, oh, well, that's Carlos Santana.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh, look, it's Carlos Santana doing exactly Carlos Santana stuff on this song. When Slash, if he didn't say Slash, you would be like, oh, who is that? Because Slash is playing completely different than he does, which I like that creativity. So anyways, I'm
glad I'm not the only person who was listening to this and as it progressed was like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah, the sequence.
God, I can't get beyond it. Mm-hmm. There's no way. I can listen to every song separately, and the whole record is full of jams.
That's how I am with No Code by Pearl Jam.
Yeah, but you cannot. It does not go together at all.
When we're done, if somebody puts on Cry, I will be like, this song is amazing. And then if in 5 minutes you put on Butterflies, I'll be like, this song is amazing. But if you start playing them straight through, I'm going to be like, please stop it.
Yeah, it's just.
And there's 2 albums off the top of my head I can think of that: Pearl Jam, No Code, and Michael Jackson, Invincible. And No Code, I love all the songs on them, but don't play them in a row.
There are also very few artists that I find myself singing along, even though I don't know the fucking words, which is usually the case. Mm-hmm. I find myself singing along to and trying to dance to. Is Michael Jackson.
Well, I told you
doesn't
that
happen on any other.
A couple weeks
record.
ago, Michelle's Jammy Jam was the Way You Make Me Feel.
Yeah.
I physically can't hear that song without doing the dance, the walk that Michael does. And that, like, if I'm walking through the grocery store and The Way You Make Me Feel is on the overhead, like, I will put the bounce in my step like he does. I can't do it. I physically can't do it.
It's impossible to not do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's because, I mean, you can say they brought in producers for this record, like a lot of different producers, but Michael's the genesis of it.
Yes, it's infectious is what it is. Like, it just...
You'd say it's an
infectious groove.
So in a weird way, you're saying Michael Jackson endorsed our podcast. Well done. I can't believe that hasn't been used so far in this episode.
I've been waiting for the perfect moment.
So, Michelle, I'm so scared to ask this, but what are your overall thoughts on this record?
So I didn't go into it with much. I just was like, it's a Michael Jackson record, so I'm sure I'll like it. Mm-hmm. The track listing sucks.
Like, the sequencing.
It's sequencing.
Yeah, please reword that. The sequencing sucks.
The sequencing sucks, so it makes it very difficult. It made it very difficult for me to do repeat listens because I was like, I just want to find the songs that I like and make notes about those, and the other ones I just want to be like, those are just there for me. But it was a struggle. Like, I would get halfway through and I'm like, I don't want to do it anymore. But I like the majority of the songs on there. Yeah. And I did read on a little bit up on the Wikipedia page because I wanted to know like who produced it and like who was on it because I didn't know. There's another rapper that's featuring Fats.
Like
Fats.
as in P-H-A-T-T?
Nope. F-A-T-S.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, and I really wanted to know who produced it because it sounds like a 2001 record, and I wanted to know if there was anybody notable. And like I said, the only two people that I know the names of off the top of my head, like that were recognizable, was Babyface and R. Kelly.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I'm guessing you didn't know who Darkchild was.
Nope.
Yeah. Well, that's a given.
Nope. Even when you said it just now, I still don't know who that is.
Wikipedia him when we're done, and you'll see.
So as we get to the end of this discussion and review of the album, we always ask if you would buy this album. And with this question, we always try and go on kind of like a hindsight type thing, or like when it came out. When this record came out and you heard You Rock My World, like the strength of that single alone, would you be like, oh, I'm going to go buy the new Michael Jackson album?
Yes, I would 100% buy this. But back in the day, I would have bought this CD, went home, and burned it into two separate CDs and listened to them not at the same time.
Resequenced the shit out of it.
Yes.
Are you asking me if in 2001 I would have bought this record?
Yes.
Or right now?
Either.
In 2001, I would have not bought this record.
Right. What about now?
No.
Can I interest you in the vinyl version where you can listen to half of it and it's good?
I don't think that there is enough for me to buy the record. I don't hate it and I appreciate it. I just don't think there's anything, especially vinyl. I would never play it front to back.
Yeah.
And
now
so,
this is another case of, and I beat this to death all the time. Sequencing matters on your records, man. The track listing, the running order of songs matter.
You
so
probably know
much.
more about this than anybody. But why the hell did this happen? Because the sequencing. Because him being such a perfectionist with how things are laid out and sound and everything, like this is like a shit show.
That's the thing, is a lot of this is probably the MJ album that I know the least about in the behind the scenes of, but I have heard a lot of fans say, I really wish Michael had a lot more hands on this, like that he very much just went in the studio and was like, I'm doing these songs and you guys do what you do, and whatever, which is completely unlike Michael Jackson. Now, again, that could come from your mind being everywhere else, and so on. So, but I have heard that's a strong opinion out there that he was a lot less hands-on with this record.
I get that. That makes sense then.
I personally would like to have as a guest on our show whoever did decide on this sequencing, so we can give them a public tongue lashing. Because how do you take this many great songs, except for 2,000 Watts, and screw it up that bad?
2,000 watts.
Yeah, well, thanks. I appreciate that. I really want to keep hearing that. As far as ratings go, as the resident MJ fanboy, I'll go ahead and start with mine. Now, I really struggled with this, but I'm going to give the record a 7 out of 10, and here's why. I want to give it like an 8 or 9 because I do love every song on the record except for 2,000 Watts. But again, when we're talking about reviewing this record, I can't say, if it was 2 records, it would have been better. If it was sequenced, like I got to talk about it as it sits.
It's one whole project.
And that the sequencing knocks this thing down easy 3 whole steps for me. Now, I
It's
don't
rough.
get into 6 and lower because it is saved by the fact that I love the song so much. Like I also think there's the other side of that argument. If you're going to listen to Cry by Michael Jackson, you got to get Invincible out to do it, right? So that's a plus for that album, even though the sequencing of it sucks. If you want to listen to that great song, you got to listen to it on this record. So that's where I fell with it. I'm scared of you, so we'll go to Kyle next. Kyle, what do you got?
I'm 6.
A 6?
Yeah, because it's literally, I would give it like an 8 or 9 if it wasn't for how badly
I think this is
structured
easy
it
9
is.
or 10
Yeah.
territory if it's sequenced right.
Yeah, because every song, to me, damn near every song is just a jam. But
Would you say it was a Jam-a-Lamma Ding Dong?
yes,
He did, as a matter of fact. It's
I
right.
also I have Jam Llama Ding Dong. I have fucking Jam.
Yep.
Jam on it is on my list.
Right on.
All those things are
As
what this
opposed to
record
as
is.
opposed to my notes for 2,000 watts, which was, I never want to hear this again.
2,000 watts.
Sweet. I should have made that drop because they hit it after every time Kyle does it. So the sequencing even knocks a further
Yeah, it's just
peg down. And also you had stuff like Heartbreaker was on my jams list, and it was not your
I don't-
stinkers, but you didn't love it.
I do understand why some of the songs sound like that because of when it was put out, but that's not my jam really. Is like the boy band kind of stuff. But yeah, I just have to sit with.
I get it.
6.
Yeah, I get it.
I
And
even feel bad saying that because it's fucking Michael Jackson.
Well,
But,
and it's not your fault
that
the record is sequenced so poorly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just not. And again, even if you go by what I said about, like, okay, but if you want to hear Speechless, you got to get Invincible, right? Like, you still have at least one less song on the record that you love as much as I do. So the 6 totally makes sense. Speaking of things not making any sense, Michelle, what are your overall thoughts and scoring of the Michael Jackson Invincible?
6.
6. And holy cow, why? Because 2,000 watts gets 5 points alone.
2,000 watts.
It's just there. There's like the songs that I like on it, I like, but not enough to purchase the record. I think that the sequencing is the biggest downfall. I think that those ballads just don't fit, and maybe if they would fit somewhere else. But I don't hate it. There's nothing on there where I was like, throw this in the garbage. Like, and so it's a struggle.
And that's the thing is this is a case study on please sequence your albums correctly.
I would have even bumped it up to 7 just because Biggie was on it, but I cannot get over the sequencing.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Yeah. Well, at least Biggie's on one of the tracks. I would say also, I think the first half of the record is sequenced far better than the second half.
Oh, for sure. This is a way heavy hitter in the first half, and then I'm like, this is a train wreck now. What is going on?
The whole second half, they like put a bunch of thought in the first half of the record, and the second half they were like, I don't know.
They just threw a dartboard. They're like, this song goes here, and this song goes here.
Just put these songs here. Which shows that the one should have been one album on its own.
Yeah.
You know? And again, I can't stress enough, the songs on that second half of the record are great songs. They're just in the wrong order and absolutely should have been released as a different project. So that is our wrap up, and hooray for me. I didn't even have to be reminded of anything this time.
And it's not a 3-hour episode.
And it started out that way on Monday. Well, because I was going to go deep into, I'll actually just say this real quick. So as far as Sony goes in their under promotion of the record, I've heard a lot of really wrong opinions out there on it. Like, well, what was Sony supposed to do, with him? No, horseshit. First of all, the extortion, and it is extortion, that happened in 93 was 8 years before this record.
Yeah.
And the dude had already released a very successful album and was touring around the world by then. And if you want to know if Sony just heard this and said like, oh, well, those aren't hits, then why did Justin Timberlake release damn near the same album the next year and have a worldwide hit with it?
And if Sony was that worried about it, then they could have just dropped him entirely and made him go put out a project somewhere else.
Well, you know why they couldn't? Because he owned most of their company. Which is why, that's another thing. I heavily encouraged people when we started this half, I heavily encouraged people to go do your own research as far as 93, 2001 and HBO's work of fiction.
Yeah.
Go, or 2003 and HBO later. If you want to really entertain yourself regarding open racism in the music industry and how black artists, even when they're in a large amount of power, are mistreated, do yourself some research on the relationship between Sony and Michael Jackson in 2001. And be ready to be floored by, they were real upset that a black guy owned that much of their company and had that much power and was a creative artist who wasn't going to be pushed around. Because they were like, well, look what he's teaching the young artists, that you can have an opinion and not be pushed around, So there's a million reasons why this record wasn't promoted. None of them have to do with Evan Chandler's stupid extortion plot. So I just want to put that out there. But
does it have to do with the track listing?
There was
the sequencing. Is that why?
Yeah, because I'm sure Sony gave a remote shit. But the point being, when you said this wasn't 3 hours, it started out.
Now.
I was going to heavily detail all of that, but instead of, I would rather people can go do this research on your own. It's easy to find out. But the number one argument I always hear is that, with what was going on, what'd you expect Sony to do? No. That doesn't get them out of this at all.
Horseshit.
Coming up on the show, we either are having a 2-week break because a child has been born, or we're going to continue to have weekly episodes. We're not entirely sure yet. If we have an episode next week, what we are planning on discussing is the inductees into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for this year, because we didn't cover it earlier because they always vote. There's like a pool that gets announced, and then they announce who of that is getting the nod. We know who that is now, so we're going to have a roundtable discussion about that. Or the baby comes, and we don't have that next week, and we take a 2-week break. So
maybe better not come. I have a hair appointment next Saturday.
Who wouldn't want to fucking interrupt that?
I mean, yeah.
I'm pinching it off, man.
I don't think anybody wants to interrupt that. I'm not even going to text you during that next Saturday.
Thank you. Like
we always say about this time, without music, life would be a mistake. Bye.
Infectious Groove Podcast is hosted by Russ Robinson, Kyle Wimple, and Michelle Koselecki. Produced and edited by Russ Robinson. Intro and outro music composed by Chris Kimmel. Opening credits read by Stacey Robinson. Recorded with a Rode Podcaster Pro and Rode Pod mics.